Hi, and welcome to The Dance Reel. We are here to talk to aspiring and professional dancers about their careers and get the lowdown on what it's really like to be a working dancer. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Hey dancers, happy Easter. I hope that you have an exciting or relaxing weekend planned. It is really sunny where I am, so I'm excited to go to the beach before winter truly sets in. That makes me so sad that winter is coming. I couldn't get out a full-length episode to you this week, but it will be coming out mid next week, so keep an eye out for that. It features a dance cinematographer from LA who will be sharing her tips on how to stand out in front of the camera and what us dancers can do to make their lives easier from her perspective. However, I still wanted to get something out to you, especially if you have a little spare time over the weekend, as it's the long weekend for Easter. So this mini-sode will be sharing some exciting dance news so that you're in the loop. But before that, let's quickly talk about taking a break. During the holidays, I personally like to stay active, whether that's going to the gym, yoga or Pilates classes, going for a walk or a bike ride, as that is what makes me feel good. And it's not as much of a shock to the body when we get back into the studio. We all know that post first week back body soreness, ouch. But I also make sure that I'm not overdoing it, and I do take the time to chill out, because I definitely learned the hard way how important it is to give your body time to recover and how that recovery time can actually help improve your performance. And I can dive deeper into that in a future podcast if you're interested. So in short, I just wanted to say that rest is important and it's also needed. So if you can, do take the time to rest this weekend and ultimately listen to your body. And that goes for any other holiday, not just Easter or just any time that you feel that you need to rest. Into the news. As we all know, the industry has taken a real hit during the pandemic, and now a year later we are starting to see a light at the end of the tunnel. It's still a little out of reach, but it's coming. It is so nice to start hearing of events and companies starting to pick up again, and stories of support or assistance have really brought some hope. Of course, public health is the first priority, but with the vaccine rollout and whatnot, I hope that we can all return safely to doing what we love at the capacity that we are used to. Perhaps there will be changes from the pandemic that will ingrain itself into the post-pandemic dance world, both good or bad, but ultimately if we can get back to somewhat of normality, that would be amazing. I actually have seen a couple of people go back to contracts on cruise ships, and I've started seeing like Remark, who Chantel from our second episode, the company that she used to dance for, I saw that they were hiring again for the upcoming summer season in Greece, so things are starting to happen. But yeah, maybe towards the end of the year, next year, things will be even better. Talking about assistance for those situated in the United States, specifically San Francisco, I have some exciting news to share with you. From May, San Francisco will be rolling out a guaranteed income program, which is giving artists $1,000 per month. This will be available to 130 artists in the pilot program, as it recognises how critical the arts are to the local economy and recovering from the pandemic. Honourable Mayor London Breed said himself that if they help the arts recover, it will help San Francisco recover. And so the YBCA site states that the arts and culture sector generated $1.45 billion in annual economic activity, while supporting nearly 40,000 full-time jobs in San Fran. I think it's so important to acknowledge these stats, because the arts often have a bad rap for not providing quote-unquote real jobs or having any economic value. So there you go. The program is brought to you by the Office of Racial Equity at the San Francisco Human Rights Commission, YBCA, Grants for the Arts, and the San Francisco Arts Commission. They are taking applications until April 15th, and I will put the Yerba Bueno Center for the Arts website in the description. So check that out and see if you're eligible and apply. For our Australian listeners, the Sydney Choreographic Centre co-founded by Fransisco. I am so sorry if I butchered that name. They have opened a new choreographic centre with Neil Christopher as managing director. It opened just last month with a number of courses for the next generation of choreographers. They will also have a resident performing group, and that will have its debut performance at the Riverside Theatres in Parramatta from the 14th to 17th of April. And that is for the world premiere of Grimm, a contemporary dance work. Fransisco himself danced and choreographed for 20 years in Milan as a ballet dancer, and then was a artistic director here in New Zealand for the Royal New Zealand Ballet and adjunct artistic director at the National Ballet of Uruguay. I can only imagine the wealth of knowledge and expertise that he would have to offer. The courses available range from a 1-day to a 3-day intensive and a 15-week master program. So if you're wanting to develop your choreography skills, I know I do, under the guidance of some of our industry experts, you should check it out. I will put the link in the description. By the way, anything mentioned in this episode is not sponsored in any way. I just spent the day researching what may be interesting, relevant, or useful for you to know. Anyway, I have some good news for anyone listening from the UK. Trinity Laban has launched a one-off grant of £750 and career support to South East London creatives. The grant can help to support continued professional development, project realisation, and that may be funding for studio hire, website development, etc. And it also supports investing in equipment or software that will support online work and digital creation, which is great as we are still in the pandemic. It's important to note that it's open to artists of any genre, whether that be our fellow dancers, musical theatre artists, or music artists, and so on. You have to be over 18 though, and within the first 5 years of your artistic career. Again, check the description as I will attach a link to the guidelines and the application portal. And lastly, for my fellow New Zealanders, the New Zealand Dance Company has launched its Innate series that will be taking place in Auckland throughout 2021. If you are there or visiting at any point throughout the year, collaborations with New Zealand choreographers have created new synergies between artists, spaces and communities, which sounds really interesting. I'm sure we'd see some unique developments come from that. And throughout 2021, the NZSD, New Zealand School of Dance, will be running its contemporary intensive program in Auckland, Welly and Christchurch. The program offers world-class contemporary training for those aged 16 to 18 and will give dancers a taste of the demands of full-time training. As someone who's been through full-time training, I can only imagine how valuable that would be. I myself did a 3-month program before I entered my 2-year diploma, and it was so helpful. I think I came into the 2-year diploma with a different mindset than I would have if I hadn't have had that full-time training taster. It definitely meant that I could go in more focused and I knew what I was in for, and I kind of set up already that just those practices in place, like trying to get enough sleep and prepping my food and packing my bag and just all these things that made full-time easier. Yeah, so definitely recommend if you have the capability, if you have the time capability, the financial capability to do so. Again, check the description and if you would like to find out more. So that's all for this little mini-sode. Told you it would be mini. Let me know if you enjoyed it. It's something a little different to break up the interviews. I'm kind of thinking if it is something that you're enjoying, then I may start incorporating more into the schedule on top of the regular interviews in the future, with more news and perhaps audition alerts as the industry picks up. But in the meantime, make sure you're following us on Instagram at The Dance Reel, because I try to post auditions there as I see them come up. Anyway, thanks again for your time today, and I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Eat lots of chocolate and all of the good stuff.